Cyberpunk 2077 is a vast open-world RPG with huge amount of content and choices, tons of world interactivity and many ways to build your character and go through quests, combat and exploration. With so many things to offer, it can be daunting and sometimes even overwhelming to a new player, and here is where I got you covered. Only actually useful advice and tips for everyone starting playing this game, but some also useful even if you have played this game for a while, as due to amount of game mechanics and possible things to do, there is always something you can miss. Character build and leveling up advice, nifty gameplay tips and tricks, and generally useful recommendations to not get lost, make the least amount of mistakes and most amount of profit possible in a single clear video. Let's go! First things first, obvious to many players, but I have also noticed many others completely omitted this. You can change difficulty anytime during walkthrough, after you have chosen it at the new game options. Just open game settings, gameplay, game difficulty. As for the choice of the difficulty level itself, I would recommend to play on hard or very hard difficulty, and here's why. While the core of difficulty is the usual sponginess system, meaning enemies simply deal more damage and have more health the higher difficulty is. In addition, enemies and bosses' abilities and skill sets also differ between the difficulties, and on two hardest difficulties, the combat is actually most fun due to bigger assortment of abilities they can use and how fast they can react, which simply often will not happen on normal or easy difficulties, but of course it is totally up to you. At the character creation, there is no sense to spread attribute points all over. Increase 2 attributes to a max during this part, which is 6, and some other third attribute on 1 more point to 4. The thing is, during walkthrough, you cannot raise more than 3 attributes to max of 20 no matter what, and generally if you're not a total completionist, you'll finish the game between level 30 and 35, so it is just 2 attributes you can actually max out, with a few points in a third one. Recommended core attribute combinations explained a bit after. When leveling up, do not make jack of all trades, meaning spending attribute and perk points all around. Investing in all attributes a bit will first allow you to choose almost all possible additional dialogue options and pass through all possible attribute checks in the game for doors, etc. But later in the game, you will start falling back heavily and being unable to pass the very same checks in almost all important quests and fights. Additionally, the level 20 of corresponding attribute is required to take the ultimate perks in each skill tree. Similar with the perks, investing into each skill tree here and there will probably give you really fun gameplay at first, but very soon you will start falling down in damage, survivability and general fun from gameplay, as you simply will not have enough perk points to grab much more interesting specialized perks, as many of them require certain other perks to be taken in the same skill tree. Cyberpunk 2077 has a hybrid leveling system. At the one hand, you receive attribute and perk points at level up, but you also receive additional perk points and other small bonuses from raising your skills, similar to how it was made in Skyrim. So shooting or striking with every type of weapon, hacking, sneaking, jumping, crafting, disassembling, basically each and every action in the game contributes to some skill, and even if that's not your profile skill, raising it still can be useful due to additional perk points you can receive, because perk points are general and can be spent into any skill tree. Core attribute combinations you absolutely cannot go wrong with. Read recommended picks if you're not quite sure at the moment. Body and technical ability. Best newbie attribute combination to feel safe and packed. Great tankiness due to high health, regen and armor perks, plenty of weapon perks, more money compared to most of builds, ability to craft anything you need, and you will be able to open literally any door in the game, as door opening checks require one of these 2 attributes. Intelligence and technical ability. If doing a hacker build, and intelligence is all about that, you will not be relying on weapons that much as any other build, and both skills in attack are generally useful and not dependent that much on certain weapon type, and also provide a lot of utility bonuses. Plus the tech skill will open many doors to you, and perks from both Breach Protocol and crafting trees will give you tons of money, basically more than any other build in this game. Reflexes and cool. As for an agile character in open combat, Cold Blood skill in cool will give you tons of stacking combat and resilience bonuses from enemy kills or when you're at the low health, adding more damage, crit, speeds, resistances, you name it, to the fast archetype of your character. But also, if you will decide to go into stealth, the reflexes attribute will provide even more crits and even more damage and utility for all possible weapons useful for stealthy builds. How to master the hacking minigame, how it works at all. It is the same principle for both Breach Protocol, hacking the enemies, and data mining, collecting resources from access points and decrypting info shards for quests. First of all, you need to enter the combination of symbols in a correct order as it is shown in the right part of the interface. Your first click determines the column you will start with. If the first symbol in this column will match anything from the needed sequence, clicking on it chooses the column it's in and chooses the symbol too. But it often happens needed symbol can be in the column but not as the first one. In that case, clicking on the column will only highlight this column without choosing first symbol in it, so you can choose needed symbol with the second click. After this step, each click on symbol in turn highlights the symbol line and column respectively. So the first symbol chosen activates the column, when you click on the second symbol, the line which contains this symbol activates, and you can pick symbols from it. Then column again, then line again, etc. Basically, you are given a symbols to choose horizontally and vertically one after another. All you need to make to achieve the best results in this minigame is to just always evaluate which symbols will be available to choose from after your next click. And you can know that as it's always column row order. And so make the best choices. Do not click the first matching symbol in a rush. Better exhale and watch on other lines you can access and see maybe other line will also have this symbol but have more symbols to match for the rest of the sequence. Don't forget about crafting ammo and making upgrades to your items. Both ammo crafting as well as basic healing items and grenades and item upgrades do not require any crafting perks or tech level. First of all, it saves money. Secondly, it saves you from walking with them 4 or 5 different weapons you didn't invest perks into even because you simply run out of ammo often. Just craft as much ammo as you need anytime. Amount of junk items to disassemble for this in the game is more than enough. You can respec your perks anytime, but it will cost a lot, $100,000. The item is a consumable called Tabula e Rasa, which can be bought from any Ripperdoc. Ripperdocs are marked with a forceps icon on the map. Two important notes here. First, it does not respec attribute points, and second, it applies instantly when you buy it. So should you want to make some stuff which is dependent on your current perks, make sure to do it before buying this item to respec. The total amount of implants which Ripperdoc can install to you is huge, so don't even try to remember all of them at the same time. And that's not needed anyway, as they cost plenty and you will not be able to chip yourself in completely till the late game. Best option here is to focus on certain body part implants first, doesn't matter which one much. Let's say head implants or a cyberdeck. Visit different Ripperdocs and see what's available in this category. Each Ripperdoc specializes in a different implants, so do not rush to buy some cool implant just as soon as you found some. Search for it through other Ripperdocs, you can find one in better tier and with better bonuses. Visit Ripperdocs, doesn't matter which one, from time to time, as you can receive various low or mid-tier implants as a quest rewards, which you can simply not notice sometimes, and even the low and mid-tier implants can be really useful. Moreover, the installation of the implant is free. Game has vertical world design done really well, and all possible forms of exploration and parkour are not only highly joyful but also often rewarded. From finding a convenient spot to deal with your enemies, up to money, items and recipes for legendary weapons, like this legendary precision rifle crafting recipe on the roof of the building if you take the elevator to 17th floor from Afterlife. This spot is not related to any quests and not marked on map anyhow, but as you can see, reward for exploring can be more than worth it. During the quests and even generic combat situations, you often can reach the same place or the fight result in 2 or 3 different ways only due to level design with many access options. The first expensive implant to buy is reinforced tendons. As mentioned before, the game has huge depths of level design and exploring it thoroughly rewards you in different ways. And there is no better implant to help you reach spots inaccessible otherwise or accessible with much more efforts and generally save you a lot of time in the game than this implant. Not only it makes you jump twice as high, but allows you to change the direction of it in midair, which is extremely useful for both parkour and combat. It costs plenty, but it's absolutely worth it. You can buy it from almost every Ripperdoc in the city. Universally useful perks which do not require attribute investment and will be proficient to any build. Regeneration. Simple and effective, slowly regenerates your health in combat and often can play the difference between the flat line and barely escaping death jaws. Big sleep. Hacking is very useful even if you're not making a netrunner build, making combat and sneaking much easier, and this perk allows you to disable enemy cameras after a successful breach protocol. Mass vulnerability, similar perk, but this time it will decrease all enemies' resistances in the area, and so giving you a free damage boost with any weapon against enemy party. Biosynergy, passively regenerating your RAM, energy used for hacking. Can never hurt, right? For any character builds possible. Mechanic. The game has abundance of loot, and crafting materials are used in everything, making weapons and armors, improving them, making healing items, grenades, mods, you name it. So taking this perk early will make a huge difference in available resources amount during the walkthrough. Useless or highly arguably useful perks, try to avoid them. Let's, if possible, save you them 100 eddies for respec, right? Scrapper. Looking like an essential perk at first glance, it is pretty flawed. The thing is, there are plenty of high-cost junk items like gold chains, etc., which cost a lot of to sell, up to 1000 bucks per item. And as this perk automatically disassembles all junk items, it means it will often basically burn your money. Pack Mule. Looking useful and with such a cool name, in reality this perk is just not needed. First of all, there are item buying terminals all over the city as sites from traders, to which you can dump stuff you don't need. Secondly, disassembling the items can be done anytime in your inventory, so should you get a little overweight, just break a few junk items into resources and basically that's it. Soft on your feet. Game has pretty realistic read high fall damage modifiers, so spending 3 perk points to reduce fall damage only on 20% will not only barely make any difference, but also an absolutely worthless investment as for price of 3 perk points. Weak Link. Arguably useful perk. On practice, you rarely will be use anything but distract enemies and ping on devices, and these quick hacks cost 1 or sometimes 2 RAM points, so taking a perk for this will be not much useful for the most of the game. Turret Shutdown and Turret Tamer. The perks themselves are absolutely fine, but it is not mentioned anywhere that they are basically mutually exclusive, so pick only one of these 2 perks. Crazy Science, the ultimate crafting perk, which is also arguably useful as the economy in Cyberpunk 2077 is not that hard in first turn, you simply will not have money issues in this game. And moreover, if you have invested into crafting already, at some point you will barely find where to spend this money, so this perk, especially as an ultimate one, is highly arguable choice. the Mech Looter and Blade Runner. Two arguably useful perks, as while of course they provide great damage bonus and some additional loot, the total amount of robotic enemies in the game is incredibly low, less than 5% of total enemies amount, so the usefulness of these perks is questionable. Silent Finisher, basically useless as for its 16 attribute requirement. On this level and amount of perks invested into this tree, 15% HP condition is barely useful, as your basic attack damage will be already enough anyway to inflict same or even much higher damage. Commando. Maybe it will be useful in the future in some water-filled DLCs if they will be added, but at this point there is almost no places to fight near water in the game, so this perk will be utterly useless. Weapon types and which one to choose. The guns are divided into three categories. To simplify, these are: Power. Classic old-school guns provide much bigger damage compared to other types, but also have a recoil. Unique feature: bullets can ricochet from surfaces, but this is pretty unpredictable of course. Tech weapons. Something similar to energy weapons in Fallout series. They have lesser basic damage, but also smaller recoil. Unique features: they can be charged to release a much more powerful shot, and these charged shots can penetrate through walls and other obstacles. Smart. Smaller damage, but also very small recoil. Unique feature: bullets shot from these weapons are homing, meaning they always hit the aimed body part of the enemy and can even fly around the corners to reach the target. As for the gun's form, there are pistols, revolvers, assault rifles and Uzis, high-precision semi-automatic rifles and sniper rifles, shotguns and miniguns, everything to your heart's content. You can also additionally install a mini rocket launcher into your arm as an alternative to grenades. It does not count as a gun, but as a damaging implant. As you can see, there is no certain winner here. Each one has pros and cons, and so there are perks for each of them available, so don't think much in the beginning. Try any or all of them and choose one you like the most later, investing into specialized weapon perks after like level 10 or so. As for the melee weapons, there are katanas, knives, blunt weapons, gorilla arms, consider these a cyberware modified fistfight, mantis blades, those famous trailer blades ejecting from your arms, and a monowire, a laser whip, which is silent and so great for stealth builds. Each melee weapon type also has slightly more or less specialized perks if you want to focus into something you especially like. Item mods. Both weapon and items can be modified on some extent. For armors, that's only armor mods, and for weapons, that's a weapon mods, scopes and muzzles. Both armor and weapon mods give passive boost to stats: armor, crit chance or damage, movement speed, resistances, etc. Both weapon and armor mods can be installed into all weapon and armor types respectively. Scopes and muzzles are pretty much self-explanatory, but they can be installed only into some weapons which fits them. Expectably, you cannot muzzle a shotgun or install a scope on top of mantis blades. Scopes and muzzles can be removed anytime after installation, but mods cannot be, so think carefully before doing so. Do not install some high-tier mods into low-quality armors or weapons. This said, there is a special perk which allows you to retrieve mods back when disassembling items, but of course, as you can guess, it requires a high tech skill. The amount of mod slots in items depend on item quality. For example, the common items will never have one, and legendary items will have up to 4 mod slots in a single item. Can I play after finishing main questline, and can I ignore it? Short answer: yes to both. A bit more detailed answer without spoilers. You absolutely can ignore the main questline as long as you want, but let's say at some point into the storyline it will be not much logical roleplay wise, so if you want to logically ignore the main quest, I would recommend to start doing so when you receive the pickup and the information quests. These one are impossible to miss, so you will notice. As for the playing after main storyline completion, it is possible, yes. Game creates a save right before you enter so-called point of no return in the storyline, and after you finish it, should you wish so, returns you back to this point right before the epilogue. But keeping rewards you collected during the walkthrough of epilogue, like unique items. After that, you can keep doing side quests and exploration or try to go through different endings. Will the world and enemies around me scale accordingly to my character level? No. This is handled more like in a classic RPGs here. All enemies' level is static, determined by the zone or quest. For example, if you will walk into some most dangerous gang district at level 5 and start the fight, you'll be destroyed very fast no matter what. But vice versa, enemies from lower ranked gang districts will not be able to even remotely challenge you at level 25. Such a world design gives a much better feeling of the overall game learning and progression and your character build strengths. The Breach Protocol tips. If possible, start Breach Protocol from devices, not human enemies, as devices will not get alerted in case of failure like it happens with humans enemies, so you can easily retry Breach Protocol without alerting the enemy party. And if you already started from enemies, perform it once again on devices too, because the quick hack cost decrease effect will jump on enemies too in case of success and stack with the effect of the first one. In the game, using Breach Protocol or quick hack second time on the same target gives 10 times less experience to, I guess, prevent experience exploits. But there is one object in Prologue on which you can farm Breach Protocol in full XP endlessly until you reach your max level of the skill available for you at this moment. 2 easy perk points out of nowhere cannot hurt, right? This object is the door to Sandra Dorset's apartments during the Prologue quest with Jackie. How to get best weapon bonuses and mods. Cyberpunk 2077 weapons, especially the high tier ones, have various bonus stats in addition to base damage and abilities, be it the electrical damage, thermal damage, crit chance or strength bonus, etc. But what's even better, these bonuses stats change each 24 hours in trader's inventory. And so do the item mods assortment, by the way, so you can just wait a few times to get the exact bonuses you want for your playstyle. Do not invest the perk points into the Cold Blood skill tree if cool is not one of your 2 main attributes and if you do not plan to get at least half of the perks in Cold Blood skill tree. The reason here is there are basically no standalone perks in this tree, because almost all perks are bonuses wrapped around improving a single core perk, so it is a double-edged sword. Most of the perks in this skill tree cannot be taken without the core perk, and the core perk is useless without decent investment into bonuses for it. Field of view glitch fix. Sometimes after cutscenes or face-to-face dialogues, especially during the main questline, it can start to imagining to you that field of view suddenly jumped down to the lowest value possible while you didn't touch the settings. In that case, no, you are not imagining, as it is the bug actually taking place. To fix that, just save the game and restart it. That's it for now, Chumbas. I hope you found some useful information for your walkthrough. Let me know if so, and share your own personal tips and tricks for the game in comments, so other folks can possibly learn from you as well. Don't forget to enable channel notifications to not miss fresh quality Cyberpunk 2077 content, and join our Discord to always stay in touch. Stay tuned, stay healthy, and stay happy. Scimitar Gaming here, signing out.